We should be live now. Let us see if the chat works all right. Hi guys, so please share some comments. If we are audible, visible, all three of us are visible, and please post in the comments so that we can start off with the session. Yeah, so I'm waiting to look at the comments, so please post in the comments if everything is all right. You can hear us, you can see us, all three of us are live. Then please chat away, right? So that is one thing. So yeah, we are getting some comments. I hope everything is all right. All good. All right. So we have some comments. It's all good. All good. Super. So before we visible, clear, and loud. Beautiful. Thank you, Sriram. Thank you, Sriram. So before we jump into the session, I just want to take a moment to say where 2IIM is offering a wonderful course for business decision making, which can be a make or break section for your XAT. So the link is available in the description. Probably one of my colleagues might post it on the comment and pin it maybe. So, but the link is definitely available on the description. So please check it out. We will take a deep dive into how did these two go through their XAT, or what fell in place for them, what worked, what did not work type thing. So it is going to be a more informal chat. I don't have any questions prepared per se. I have a vague idea of where do we want to, what are the important things that we should be discussing type thing. We'll definitely take a lot of comments as well and see if we can answer them as well. So yeah, so welcome Arvind, welcome Kamal. Both of them, I've had the pleasure of working with them for a while, and they were brilliant colleagues, and I was happy to have known them in professional and in some personal capacity as well. So yeah, hi guys, welcome to this session. Hi Arvind, hi Kamal.
Hello everyone.
Yeah, so a brief introduction. Arvind is an IT engineer, am I right? And he has worked in two places before joining XLRI, if I'm not mistaken. And one was 2IIM, the other was Cognizant, if I'm again not mistaken.
It was L&D Tech Services actually.
Okay, L&D Tech Services, I'm sorry about that. And Kamal did a lot of freelancing, did designing. He worked as a barista in Starbucks through his graduation. He has donned several hats, and one of them was also reaching out to students from 2IIM. So I've known both of them for 6 months to 1 year, and they are brilliant colleagues. I really enjoyed working with them, and they went places. Obviously, they both are now in their dorms in XLRI. So yeah. So yeah, how did your CAT go? Each one take your turn, and how did your CAT go? Maybe your percentile, if you are not really, if you're comfortable sharing that as well. How did it go? Last year's CAT.
So alphabetically, Arvind. Okay, fine. So yeah, so the latest CAT, it went okay for me. Yeah, it was 96 percentile. I'm okay sharing that. So not really great in terms of what I wanted to do. Of course, there were reasons, like there are always reasons, but it is what it is at the end of the day. So yeah, so CAT wasn't that good. So that meant that I had to work harder for that. That's all.
Right. What about you, Kamal? Now you are the second person in the long line of people in alphabetical order. So please.
Well, my CAT, I think I prepared fairly well, but the problem with my CAT was I took too much tension. Before the exam, I wasn't really able to sleep. Like, will I solve it or not? Will it work out or not? Will it work out or not? And then for us, the entire thing was a enigma, right? We didn't know how many questions we'd have. We just knew we'll have 26 questions in DILR, but didn't know the length of the sets and everything. So that is where I fumbled a little bit. I got stuck in one set, and I thought I'd done terribly. In that one set. So since I thought I'd done terribly, I had a bit of a panic attack. And I kind of ruined my Quant percentile.
Okay.
So what happened was I'd actually done really well in DILR. I had like 96, 97 percentile. But in Quant was very nice. I ended up with an 88 percentile in Quant. So that led me to have an overall percentile of 98, close to 98 percentile. So again, with my graduation percentage, not really great for anything else. So that's when I went to Quant for XAT. One thing I did differently with XAT was I did not take tension. I chilled for a little bit and then went
Nice,
there.
nice. So another lesson for us to remember is that don't carry forward your emotions from one section to another section. Like Kamal rightly said, he ended up with a fantastic percentile in DLR, which he thought has screwed up his entire CAT, which had not. But what when he gave up was when I think your Quant pulled you down, right? Yeah. So remember that. Likewise, the another thing to remember is that don't carry forward emotions from one exam to the other exam as well. So your CAT might not have gone as you had expected, or you felt it to be super tough. It is all right. That is it's a fantastic exam to get into great colleges. So you should take it maybe chill even slightly more and not take it be super intense and super serious, but take it seriously, as in you give the exam the respect that it deserves, but not be don't agonize over it like how you did for CAT. Maybe that is the takeaway that I have. Like my CAT really went well, not this year, but in 2015 when I went to IIT Madras, is because I really chilled out that entire day. I went to Pondicherry on a bike trip and everything. So I think chilling out helps a lot. Yeah. All right. So okay. So what happened with CAT versus okay? What else did you do in the month before that? Is there anything specific or generic? How do you put it?
One thing
I'll go first. Okay, fine. Come.
Yeah. So one thing I did differently for XAT was I looked at a lot of previous papers. With CAT, I only looked at like 2-3 years because again, CAT questions keep changing. But with XAT, in the decision-making section at least, there's a certain kind of answers that they expect, which you can easily get to know once you've gone through enough previous year papers. So that is something I would recommend.
Okay. Arvind, your turn.
So I'll tell you what I did after CAT. So I chilled for a week. I didn't do anything at all. So I wanted some time off. There's too much preparation for me. So I took a break for a week. And then by the end of that, I started the preparation again. And then you know what happens. You get your scores and everything, your response sheet.
Correct.
So I would say that there's two ways to go about it. There are people who just don't look at it and try to like keep away from it and all that. That usually doesn't work. I would say just indulge it for a day, just go through your scores, find out what it is and everything, and then just pack it away. Like just go through it, indulge it for 1 or 2 days, know what happens. You have a fair idea, just get it, process it, keep it aside. And then you will have like, you won't have this nagging feeling of this, what are you supposed to do with your CAT scores and all that. Then go into your XAT preparations. It may also spur you on because like, you know that your CAT is screwed or your CAT is whatever, like even if it's good, don't let it affect you. Even if your scores are good, just get your XAT preparations because like we will talk further about this, but I think XAT preparation still has some differences compared to CAT. So don't take it for granted that whatever worked for you in CAT will work for you in XAT. Doesn't. So take your mocks in the next month, and that's what I did. I took my mocks, I tweaked what I wanted to do in terms of strategy, and then that's about it. That's what I did for the next. And also like just before XAT again for 3 or 4 days, don't do anything before the exam. So you ideally have 3 weeks to prepare. Just don't do it till the end of the exam.
Okay. So too many serious questions. So how is campus life? So
okay.
Go on, Arvind.
All right. It's pretty good so far. We've been lucky enough to experience campus life recently. I mean, we've been here for a month now. Some of us have been here for a couple of months as well, and it's pretty good. That's all I can say for now. It's really nice, and I hope that everything is the same or even better when people land up the next year, and you get to experience campus life from the get-go.
Nice. Super. How are you enjoying campus?
I was eagerly waiting to come on campus. I ran in the first slot, like 31st was the slot you had to come to campus, and they released it on 30th. I packed up everything one day. You're on campus. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I really like the camp, and there are a couple of offline classes that started as well, which
Oh,
have
nice.
been great for the most part. So I think for the most part, I'm really enjoying it.
Okay. So your summer internships are over, in progress?
They are over.
Okay. Nice. So how intense was it? Preparing your resumes and preparing for summer internships and guesstimates and whatnot.
I think Arvind would be better equipped to answer this.
Yeah, so it's pretty intense. The first 3 months are pretty intense. The first trimester, you'll be prepared for it. Once you get in, you will get into the groove. But yeah, you have to get through those 3 months, and then after that, it's pretty chill, I would say. So just be ready for it. But then again, right now in your preparation cycle, don't even think of this. It's like 3-4 months into the future. So we can get to that later, I guess.
There are also a lot of these case competitions and everything that happen before your summer internship. So if you can nab an internship through that, which I did, I think that should also work out really well.
Nice. So somebody is asking the important question: do they have parties at campus?
Oh, don't worry. You'll get tired of them very soon.
Yeah.
All right. So okay. So how was your XAT? How did your XAT go? How did the actual exam go?
Do I go, Arvind, or do you go?
Kamal, you go.
Okay. So XAT for me was a different ball game. I decided to take it a little chill, not take that much of tension perhaps. So actually my center was in Mysore, which is like a tourist destination. So I went there 2 days earlier. I saw the palace, I saw the zoo, I went on the hill and everything, did all of that. And on the morning of the exam, I'm very calm. I take like 15-20 minutes to do the VA section, which is my strong suit. And I also finished the DM section in 15-20 minutes. Since I'm not very great at Quant, I spent 100 minutes doing 17 questions, and I got 16 on 17 right, which
Nice.
ended. So that worked out really well for me. And since I was already very good at verbal, I had a 99.9 there. And in decision making, I had a 95. So ended up with an overall thing of 99.89.
Nice. That is fantastic. Yeah. So how did it go for you, Arvind?
Yeah, so this is going to sound a bit similar, except for this amazing percentile at the end. So yeah, for me, it happened like I took the exam in Chennai. So it was the first, like it was in the middle of the pandemic, and I had to travel to Chennai and everything. In terms of my approach, it's very similar. VRC is my strong suit as well. So I started VRC, spent enough time on it. Like I usually do it pretty quickly. So VRC, I just got it, and I don't remember how much time it took, but I got it done pretty quickly, and then moved on to the BDM part. So after BDM, I moved on to Quant, and again, this was to make sure that I had enough time for Quant. Quant is almost always my worst section, so I wanted to make sure that I had enough time for Quant so that I could pick out the questions properly and then work on them. And I can also sometimes take a shot at a question, and if it doesn't work out, move on. So I should have enough time left at the end to do that. So I made sure that I got through my VA part quickly, which is my strong suit, then BDM, then Quant. That was my approach. It worked out well at the end. So I ended up with a 97 percentile overall. Yeah, so that's about it.
Super. So how important you think is to strategize your timing? Like it is very different from CAT, right? CAT directly throws everybody 340 minutes. You really can't do anything. You can underspend the time, you can't overspend the time. By the moment it hits 0, you have a 39.59 for your next section. So how crucial is your planning, or should people not over agonize about planning? Where do you draw the line? What would you think is the recommended thing?
Kamal, can you go?
Yeah, so I think this is something, and everyone I've talked to has done this. They've spent lesser time on their strong sections because they can get it done really quickly, and spent a lot of time on the section that they think they're not very great at. And I think strategizing, it doesn't necessarily have to be like this, but I think you really do need to strategize whatever it is that you're doing, how you're going to spend your time. Because honestly, if you're very good at Quant, you're not going to need a lot of time to do all of those math questions. So you can use that time doing more verbal questions, right? It's not like at the end of the day, you've solved 10 verbal questions, you have 20 minutes left. Might as well try to solve 2 more.
Correct. Okay. So what do you think, Arvind?
Yeah, so I can give you some experience from what happened to me. Okay, so the reason that I mentioned that it's important to strategize the whole thing is that I have taken these exams twice. The first time around, this might be a bit scary for people who have problem with VRC, like who feel that VRC is not their strong suit, but I'll still go ahead and say it. VRC is my strong suit. So the CAT 2019, the year before, I scored around 99 percentile in VRC, the high 99 percentiles. So I went into XAT thinking the same approach would work. It was a mistake. It was a humongous mistake. So in CAT, I would like attempt almost everything because I knew my accuracy was good enough to get the answers right, and I'll probably score high. It worked. When I did that in XAT, it ended up being my worst section ever. So in 2020, so that's a lesson. So it was like pretty poor. Poor enough that the sectional wasn't clear. So that poor. So I went from high 99 percentiles in CAT to the worst XAT thing in the previous year's XAT. So this is one thing that it was because like I attempted too many questions that year. That was pretty bad, and I think even the time management wasn't good enough. So the next year I corrected it. I ended up with a 96 percentile in VRC in XAT, and again a high 99 percentile in CAT. The thing to note is that in XAT, if you take your mocks, you will know where you're going well, where you're doing well, and you can tweak accordingly. So you know that there are some, for example, there'll be poem questions. Like I was pretty terrible at it. At some point, I decided that I'm not touching these things.
Okay.
Right. So that was thing I took a call into, but I didn't do that the previous year. I was punting. Like basically, I was thinking, okay, this should be the answer, and it was wrong. So this is one thing that you can do, and have a hard limit on the time. It's quite easy to get carried away with a particular section. So have a hard cap that once this time, once I hit this particular time, I'm moving on to the next section. Maybe I'll come back later. So make sure that you have a hard cap on each section. That's one thing that you can do. This is broadly the strategy pointers that I can give.
Nice. So to summarize, both have planned well in terms of how we are going to use that limited amount of time that you get inside XAT, especially given that there is no hard timeline for each section. The exam does not push you to the next section. So make sure you figure out a way of telling yourself, hey, 30 minutes are gone. Now I have to move on to the next section, however engrossed I could be in this question. So that seems to have helped. Right. So definitely pick that up. It should help. Those who have questions, please keep posting on the chat. We will probably address a bunch of them. So yeah, I'm going to go through the chat and see how to go through XAT prep. My verbal is weak. Is there any suggestions that you guys want to give out? Please go ahead.
Let's say read Bharat's reading list.
Okay.
I think reading is, and not just reading for the sake of reading. You can't be like, oh, I need to read this today. Oh, it's like a long ass document. I don't want to read this. If you keep doing that, that's the mentality you'll carry forward in the exam as well. You're going to see a paragraph and be like, oh, I'm not going to be able to read this. So that is not something that you need to carry to the exam. More try to enjoy reading is what I would say. First, start with something that you like learning about and start reading there, and then slowly move on to the more complex philosophical readings. And I think that is how you can develop a love for reading. And when you do that, you go to the exam, you see a very juicy paragraph and think, ooh, that's very well written, instead of thinking, oh, that's very difficult. I think that is a change that you need to bring about.
So I think in short, you're looking at the attitudinal shift towards reading rather than just getting used to reading.
Yes.
How well do you like something and how you can relish something, I think will translate into better results because you already relish it. So you comprehended that.
Exactly.
I would agree with that. Just enjoy reading. Just don't make it a thing like I have to complete like this many articles per day or something like that. Doesn't work. And also force yourself to read stuff that you don't really enjoy reading. So, I'm pretty sure in the reading list you would find articles about almost every single topic. I really didn't enjoy psychology and those sort of like really complex topics sometimes, but I did go through them because it helps you get into that habit of being able to read things that you don't necessarily enjoy, because there is no guarantee that you're going to get your favorite topic in the exam. So just keep reading every single day, and don't make it a chore. Enjoy it. That's it.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So there's one more question that is more generic and not specific to XAT preparation. How do you beat the multitude of distractions while preparing? To be honest, there are a lot of aspirants in our country who are preparing for XAT who would probably give their right arm to be where you guys are. So I think we'll hear it from you in terms of what do you have to say for distractions affecting the learning or practice or preparation.
This is where I think I'm thankful for the whole coronavirus and the lockdown that it brought about. I basically had nothing else to do other than sit home and study. And on top of that, even when things started opening up, you make a point, right? If someone's asking you to go out, you tell them, hey, I'm preparing for this exam. Like I can't really afford to do that right now. Of course, when the exam's done, we can all go for a nice big outing together. I think that is somewhere you need to draw the line. Of course, I'm not saying don't enjoy anything, don't watch anything. Put in time limits. If you really like watching shows or watching Netflix or anime, put in 2 hours a day, you do that. And once you finished your studying quota, imagine you wanted to finish, and studying quota is not by hours, by the content you wanted to finish. Hours will get over very easily. So if you thought you'll finish this topic today, finish it. And after you finish that, do whatever it is that you want. So that is something I'd recommend.
How about you, Arvind? I think Arvind would have spent a lot more time on Netflix, Hotstar, Vagera.
Yeah, mostly or at work most of the time. One of these. So I believe that most of you who are writing XAT have already prepared a lot for CAT. So that's acknowledge that and trust that whatever preparation you have done so far is going to, it's not going to disappear in a month. So just do your mocks, spend time on mocks mostly. You don't really need to do intense preparation. I guess it's going to be revision. And which means that you can set some time apart, like Kamal said, like when have some time for your show watching or your gaming or anything that you want to do. So that like you have a time for distraction so that you don't get distracted when you're doing your preparation. It's as simple as that.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So one more question that might be an inside job. I don't know. Somebody's asking about the committee called Maxi and how you're enjoying it and what is it about? I think this is pertinent to Arvind.
Yes, it is. So yeah, XLRI, like any other college that you go to, has a lot of committees for interest groups, which you can join based on like there'll be selection and everything for that. And the thing is, these provide a bit of an extra flavor to your MBA, so that you're just not studying and just doing your academics. So you also have competitions to organize and fests to conduct and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of learning in that as well. It's based on what you want out of an MBA. So if you want to experience MBA, if you just want to be an academic guy who just wants to do get into the merit list and everything, you're free to do that. If you want to do activities as well, there are plenty of opportunities. And the committee that I am in is the marketing committee, which is because I am pursuing HR here, but I still have an interest in marketing, so I was able to pursue that.
So there is no hard line of distinction that says, hey, you are from HR, don't come into this committee. None of that.
Yeah. For most committees, there of course there are details and everything, but you'll get to know when you get to know those. But mostly, you're free to choose what you want, and I'm sure like almost all of us are in one committee or the other, and it's fun. Basically.
Okay. So we have a couple of more interesting questions. So there's one question that talks about what should be the mindset for dealing with the decision making. Is there a particular philosophy? Is there a particular theme or idea you should be following? How do you know this is what they are expecting or this is what is right? How do you go about it?
Yeah, like I was saying, I think you need to really read the past year papers, whatever year you can get every year's papers and see what kind of decisions it's expected is the right answer. It's usually you're expected to be very ethical. And on top of that, not only being ethical by throwing everything away. No, you can't do that. You need to be ethical and also make business sense. It's very easy to be ethical while leaving all business aside, right? So that is something you should not do, but you should also not be quote unquote an asshole, basically.
Okay.
BDM, a couple of pointers is like, in terms of options, right? Eliminate the extreme options. That's one. That's like anything with a qualifier, be wary about it. So there's a qualifier saying like, anything that's too aggressive or like it's too extreme, it doesn't really happen in the business world. Be wary of those options. Most likely they don't work. The other things, being ethics is important. Like XLRI as an institution has a high focus on ethics, which you can see if you go to the website. It's there. So which means that when there's a decision to be made, make sure that you're not compromising on ethics anywhere. So that's very important. They just don't go by the profitability of it. Make sure that the options that you're choosing are ethical as well. This is another pointer. You can compromise profitability. You can go to the extent of compromising profitability for ethics. So make sure that you don't choose an ethically a questionable choice. Other than that, for BDM, the most important thing is practice, and especially practice from the previous XAT papers. So this is a section where you mocks help, but not to the extent. Don't let your mock score affect your sway your thought of how good you are at BDM. The only mock scores that you should be really focusing on are the previous year XAT mock scores for BDM. The other mocks, do take them, but don't put too much weight on that. The reason I'm saying is that it's a very hard section to emulate in terms of mocks. So only the actual paper gives you the correct difficulty and the flavor of it. So put more weight on that, which means that do all your mocks and then move on. Finally, keep these for the end, so that you know where you stand. Another thing is like in terms of attempts, don't go berserk on the attempts. Be very choosy about how many you're attempting, and around 10, 12, I think attempts will probably be good enough. Don't go in thinking that you have to go 15 and above questions and get them all right, because that will force you into taking punts, and that's not a good thing.
Okay. Fair enough. So essentially, ideally, if I want to like take a one-liner out of it, it is going to be that, hey, maybe somebody else gives you a mark. Maybe they are not thinking how XLRI thinks or ZAT committee thinks. So the best way to go about it is take actual ZAT papers, check, like Kamal also kept repeating that, check what their answer is, and then think about why would they give that as the answer? What is the reasoning behind that answer being the right answer? And think about what could have gone underneath and all of that, right? I'm going to do a shameless plug here. So there is a link in the description available for our ZAT BDM course, which has loads of actual XAT sets solved by Rajesh himself. Please check it out. It is available at a fantastic discount, but please check it out. We also have a bunch of videos on YouTube covering last year's XAT. So this January's XAT. So please check them out as well. We'll have detailed solutions. You shouldn't be missing on them. So definitely go through them, watch them. If you are super keen in terms of, hey, my everything else is all right. I have prepared well for my math and verbal and ALR and everything, but I don't know what is this monster called BDM. You should definitely check out the link given in the description. The course is put together after so much thought going into creating solutions for our own BDM sets, and even more so actual XAT BDM sets. So yeah, you should definitely check that out. We'll go to some questions. There's one particular question that says, where does GK score come into picture? Is it important? Give us more details. And there is one more malicious comment that says, hey, ask both of them what their GK scores were.
Yeah, so I don't remember my GK scores, honestly. It doesn't really matter. I don't think it figures anywhere in the selection process unless there is this whole thing of a tie happening. I don't think if it ever happens. So I would say practically don't care about it. If you are like keeping up with news, that much is enough. You just, as long as you haven't been living under the rock for the past year, you should be fine with GK. That's about it. Don't spend a lot of time on GK prep. Use the time for whatever else is your weakest section. GK maybe at the end you can like. I don't think you need to like really focus on GK at all. That's my take on it.
All right.
I'd say the same. Like I have a pretty like abysmal GK percentile. I had a 33 percentile in GK, and I know people on campus next to my room. They had like 10 percentile in GK. So it's fine.
All right.
You don't need.
So everything is forgiven.
Yeah.
You don't have to really agonize about GK percentile.
See, if you have, it's just a matter of what is better, right? If you have a really high percentile and have a really good interview, your GK is not going to matter. Okay. But if you've had an okay-ish percentile and maybe then not so great interview, and like, yeah, then GK might come into play. Like this person is more worldly, so they might be better suited. So that's how the admissions work. It's not one thing that kicks you out. It's a many range of things.
Okay. So what I've heard also is like from previous alumni from XLRI as well is that the last stage of selection, I'm going to give somebody a seat and two people have the same score. Then XLRI uses the GK score to say, hey, this person is ranked one above the other person. That is the only place where that comparison comes into play. So don't agonize too much about GK. So that is what is the recommendation we get. Top 5 anime recommendations from Kamal Kaushik.
I'd say everyone needs to watch Code Geass first, and after that, I would finish my recommendations then.
Okay, not even one more, two more, maybe not 4 more.
I like Steins Gate. I like Clanad, and I liked the first season of Psycho Pass as well. Okay. Right now, I'm watching reading this new manga called Blue Period, so I'd recommend that as well. So please go ahead, friends.
Okay, super. So, is XLRI Delhi worth joining? Do you guys have more information on that?
Yeah, I think the XLRI Delhi has had fantastic placements this time. I think their stipends was more than 1 lakh. So just for Delhi, which is again better than a lot of the new IIMs. So I'd say really give XLRI Delhi a shot. If you get a convert, I think you should go for it, provided you don't have any of the older or better places to go. I think XLRI Delhi is something that you really need to look at.
Nice. Super. So yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I would echo that thought. Just that also one other thing, do not filter any institute or any course out at this moment. Apply for every single thing that you can find. Even to the extent of applying for FPM, like anything at all. Do not filter. Do not think should I be applying. I don't think there is any filtering that if you apply for XAT you are automatically eligible for both. Think of all the selections far like in the period of March, April, later on. Do not filter anything at all right now.
Okay, fair enough. So people shouldn't be dissing XLRI Delhi saying, hey, this is a new college and everything. You should at least first go to the extent of converting that and then think about it. See what your options are and then weigh in and then see what might work for you, what might not work for you, what is the loan that you're going to take, all of that, I guess.
That's the thing. It's when thinking of XLRI Delhi as a new college, it's that's something that you shouldn't think. A new college as in it's not completely new because most of the faculty that teach the BM classes here are the ones that teach the XLRI Delhi as well, and also the placements are common. So it's mostly an offshoot of Jamshedpur campus. So it's one XLRI is the thing that they're trying to do.
Okay, fair enough. So you heard it from these guys. So definitely don't think of XLRI and CR as hey, it's a new college. How good is it going to be type thing. So remember that. I've heard XLRI interviews are notoriously gruesome. Is this true? And how to prepare for that? I hope that is, if it is true.
I wouldn't say gruesome per se, but they're very intense. Depends on how the interviewers are feeling that day, I feel. Because some of my friends had very pleasant interviews.
Okay.
And in my interview, professor basically fought with me and got up from his chair and just left. So again, I think the key there is to remain calm. They're basically checking to see how easy it is to get you agitated or get you nervous and then back you into a corner. When they try to back you into a corner, stay calm, try to answer their questions. The more you panic, the more they're going to think, hi, he'll not be able to handle the stresses that come along. So he might not be a good candidate. So I think staying calm is one of the key aspects there.
Yeah, so adding to that, one of the things that nobody actually tells you before all your B-School interview starts is that they're essentially looking at how placeable you are, for instance, like how easy is it for you to gain placement. So that means that you should be performing really well in the 10 or 20 odd interviews that will be coming to you in your summer internships and your final placements and everything, right? Which means you have to be approaching these interviews in a calm state. Just think of it like a job interview. How would you approach a job interview? How would you present yourself? That's almost the same thing that they're expecting from you. They just want to see whether you hold your own in an interview and whether you're able to stay calm. For me, the experience was it was pretty pleasant actually. I didn't have any walking out or anything of that sort, but then again they did grill me in both my interviews, both for PM and HR, and before your interviews, you would be asked to answer a couple of questions. Like the form would come, I think, I don't know, a month,
Like a video
before.
interview type thing?
Behavioral questions kind of form,
Okay.
and you have to fill that up. After you fill that up, most of the times the interviews would be structured around your answers there.
Okay.
So unlike other B-School interviews, you sort of have an idea of the kind of questions you might expect. And you should also be you should be very truthful when you do your behavior questions, because they'll easily find out if you're put in some things that are not real. These are the things to keep in mind.
So essentially, your
adding on
video
to
is
that.
Visual SOP, if I'm not mistaken. So they take points from your SOP and then elaborate on during your interviews.
Yes, but
about them.
Yes, but again, qualify on this exceptions can occur. I had two interviews. One was driven by the behavior questions I answered. The other was completely unrelated, not connected at all. So anything could happen.
So be prepared. Yeah.
Adding on to that, I would recommend writing your behavioral questions in a more storytelling format. If you write it in a generic, oh, I was born, I did this, I went there, I did that, I did this. They're going to be reading thousands and thousands of those. So make sure to make it interesting to grab their attention. And whatever answers you make there grabs their attention, right? That's where the interview is going to go. That's how you're going to drive the interview. If it's something you're not comfortable talking about, don't put it there. If you talk about the subject in your undergrad, you might get a lot of questions on that subject. If you're not very comfortable with that subject, don't put it there.
All right. Makes sense. Okay, so there is one question which I'll answer. Usually we have a tendency to rationalize the DM answers after knowing the correct answers. Is there a source which can explain the exact reason behind the answers? Which is what you should check out our channel. Please subscribe to our channel. We have released 2 or 3 BDM questions so far. We have some more in pipeline. So please have a look at them. Maybe take a pause, go through the entire BDM passage, questions, answers, see where you stand, and then check out the answers and then see what was the actual thought process. What was your thought process? How do you probably learn those thought process, what you have been supposed to do in all of them. Right. One question that's interesting is that discuss on how to go about quant section. Questions are too lengthy and time consuming. I think the answer lied in the fact that you spent a lot more time in quant. Is that right, Kamal?
I come from a biology background, so math is not my greatest suit. In fact, in my 12th, I had a 58 in my math, 58 on 100 in 12th. So that's how good I am at mathematics. So, and even then, I ended up with a 99 percentile in quant section. So it is doable. The only thing you need to do is you'll need to spend a lot more time. You'll need to understand things conceptually. For me, I don't really understand X, why I have to find his X or why I have to find Y. That is something I just don't get it intuitively. So what I instead do is, if it's a time speed question, I'm like, okay, in one hour, this guy traveled 60 kilometers per hour, right? So in 1 minute, he's traveling 1 kilometer. And I'll try to solve the questions in that manner. And that is something people can do. And yeah, since they are time consuming, reduce the time you use in other sections, right? Or if quant is your strong section, then they're not going to be very time consuming to you.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Fair enough.
Yeah, I would say the same. Can go with increasing the time you have for quant, because I am an engineer. Despite that, quant is my worst section, because like VRC I'm pretty good at it, and DLR I'm like okay, with the BDM I do pretty well. Quant I usually don't. It's not my best, but yeah, like Kamal said, like have a lot of time allocated for quant, so that like that's for me. For you, quant might be your strongest section, and BA might be your worst. Make sure that you have a lot of time allocated for BA then, because like VA is not just VA. We also have some questions like what is the passage talking about. There's like more critical reasoning kind of questions also are there. So those you can spend time on it, mull over it, think of it, and then get the answer. So if VA is not your strongest shoot and you're rushing through it at the end, it's not going to work out. So
yeah. So does 2IIM have a specific 1 month course for XAT? Yes, there is a XAT crash course available. Please check it out. Please check it out. Go to search for 2IIM XAT online course. You will find the link. Please check it out. Please check it out. Any other questions? Does XLRI Delhi and Jamshedpur have placements together?
Yeah, I've answered this in the chat. This year they had common placements. The placements are all done together.
Super. Okay. I think we are done with questions. There are not many new questions. So I think we've covered a lot of ground in terms of how did your CAT go, how did your XAT go, what did you do in between, how did you strategize, how did you prepare, and what was. One thing I was really expecting, because I know you guys beforehand, I've heard this before this meeting. So I knew Kamal Kaushik said, hey, I spent 15-20 minutes in one section. I spent another 15-20 minutes in another section. And then basically I spent the entire remaining time in quants. At least that is a version that I remember from a year ago. So I really wanted that to be out there to tell people that, hey, the time management is super critical. And even if the questions are lengthy, if you have enough time, you can crack most of them. Given that you're prepared decently well for your math. So make sure you have your wits with you. You plan well, take enough marks, think of it as, okay, this is a time investment that I'm making so that I can make my actual exam better. Right? Take a lot of marks. Don't think of it as, okay, I'll take 1 mark the week before XAT and then be done with it. Right? Don't do that. Take a bunch of marks, because especially that there's no time limit. You should get used to rationing your time and making sure you're covering enough sections. You can't have fantastic percentile in 2 sections and completely tank the 3rd section because you didn't have any time to look at the 3rd section questions at all, which might happen, which you will correct if you have taken 3 marks. If you have just taken 1 mark and that is your 2nd mark, then you don't have space to comprehend that and take it in and digest and make the most out of your XAT. I want to recollect one of our students as well, and her CAT did not really go well. She took leave from office for 2 months, didn't really go well, and then she joined office after November, and then she was like, okay, I'll do whatever I can for XAT, and then I think she passed out last year out of XLRI from HR. So CAT did not really go well. She was a brilliant student, but CAT really did not go well. 2 hours can't define who you are. So don't agonize over what happened in the 2 hours. To err is human. We all make mistakes. It's okay if we made some mistake. Like for instance, in this context also, if you can think, Arvind took CAT and XAT twice over, right? First time, not everything fell in place, right? But he learned what has happened and how do I make it right the next time, and he nailed it the next time. So I think even the 2nd time, maybe one was nailed, one was great, but not enough to where he was expecting to reach. So such is life, guys. It is all right if not everything did not fall into place. It is all right. Don't beat yourself down too much, right? Be kind to yourself. It is super important. We all in all of these rat race, you kind of forget to be kind to yourself. So please be kind to yourself, especially if your cat has not gone well. Be kind to yourself. Take it in a stride. Take 2-3 days off, and then don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about other exams and everything. Chill out, and then think about, okay, I have one more opportunity, maybe to correct things, maybe to set things right. I will give it my best and see where it takes me, right? Both of them are speaking from XLRI DOMs. That is where it has taken them to take a moment, take a pause, take 2 steps back, maybe 5 steps back, and then say, hey, what else? How else can I make it better? Maybe my cat did not go well because I was too stressed. I was feeling a lot of pressure and anxiousness during the exam. So you figure out, you correct your mistakes and go places. I think there was one more question that I wanted to read from the chat. I had missed it. Strategy for attempting, we have discussed it multiple times over, so that is not going to be discussed again. There was one more question I really liked it, but I'm not getting it. Okay. Any which way, we'll Arvind and Kamal both have the YouTube link as well. So if you guys post some questions later, either we'll get those answers from them, or they themselves might be kind enough to answer on the comments as well. So if you have any more comments, any more questions, please post them on the comment section. We will make sure we answer the questions. All the best to all of you who are preparing for other management is IFT, SNAP, XAT, NMAT, all of them. Take it with a smile. It is all right if things really did not fall into place with CAT. Right? So remember that CAT is not end of the world. So remember that the one-liner is that, and plan well. Planning well has its own positives. Your outcomes become that much better if you have planned well and rationed your time well, and consider the fact that, hey, this is another 2-hour exam, maybe not end of the world. Right? Sometimes the attitudinal shift helps so much more during your actual writing the exam, and I think that matters a lot. Are there some more questions? DM preparation tips, we have done that in detail. How many marks did you guys take? That's one question. So we will wrap it up with this question. So how many marks did you guys take for XAT, I hope?
Yeah, I think I took about 3. Which is a pretty low number, so don't follow my example. I was kind of like, I was okay with the group. Like, I just wanted to strategize on how to approach the questions. And I took all the previous year papers. So because that's what I wanted to do. But I would say if you have the time, do more like mocks from providers and then do this. A good number would be 5 or 6, I guess, if you can get the time for it. But yeah, don't do too many as well. That's also a wrong thing. 1 every 3 or 4 days is fine. The time that you have.
What about you, Kamal? What would you suggest?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Don't do as I did, do as I say. I probably did only DM mocks. I didn't really take the full mock because I was pretty comfortable with VRC and I knew I'd solve Quant given the time. So I did all the DM mocks, and yeah, I would say a good number of mocks would be somewhere around 2 every week. So you have 4 weeks. So I'd say go for 8 mocks, aim for 7 or 8, and that should be more than enough. And yeah, the last 3-4 days, I would say don't really do anything. Don't study too much. Just keep on your toes, sleep well, go to the exam well rested, and make sure you're in a happy mental space.
Fair enough. So we'll conclude the session, guys. All the best. Please check out the comment. There is a fantastic VDM course available. There's also a XAT crash course available. So please check it out. Our crash course or the VDM course also comes with 5 mocks, out of which 1 is 2 IMs mock and 4 mocks are actual XAT papers in XAT format. So please check it out. All the best, guys. Thank you, Arvind. Thank you, Kamal, for taking time out, and it's wonderful connecting with you guys after a long while. So yeah, I know we give, like, at least between me and Arvind, we keep speaking over our common interest of Formula 1 and everything. But yeah, so thank you guys. Thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot, Bharat, and all the best to everyone taking the exams. Thanks for having us here. And yeah, just do comment on the video if you have any doubts, and whenever we can, we'll be answering those questions. And do reach out through 2 a.m. if you have any other doubts. We will try to help you out.
Super, super.
Say the same. All the best, everyone, and thank you for having us.